Hello everyone, this is Professor Maloney, and I'm now going to create a second chapter 2 programming example. I created one a little while ago using question marks to make a diamond shape, which was done to help you in creating, I think it's your chapter 2 programming exercises 1 and 2, I believe require you to do things with shapes. So it's just a demonstration. Now I'm going to do a demonstration on a true calculation example. Very simple, just a chapter 2 example, which basically will help you do at least 2 of the other chapter 2 programming exercises that you must do. So let's start. All right, share my screen. Hide that. All right, so I'm not sharing. Oh yeah, I'm not sharing my video anymore. I don't want to. All right, so now over here, I want to actually, I don't need to have this. What I want to just do now is create an example. So I'm going to go to REPL, okay, and I'm going to create a REPL. So remember REPL.it, you do need to create an account. I want a C++ REPL, okay, and I want to call it Chapter 2 Basic Programming Example, Prof Maloney. Okay. All right. So create the REPL. Now you can, if you prefer, go directly to MindTap. Okay. Meaning, you know, obviously from your student start here, and then you click the link to go to MindTap, and you can go to Chapter 2 or Unit 2, sorry, and then you click the Code button. And then you're going to see the 6 programming exercises that you have to do. So let's say that the one I'm doing is similar to programming exercise 2-3. And I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know what it may or may not be similar to, but either way, they're all easy. 2 are based something on doing shapes or whatever. And I said I already created a video today demonstrating that, and that'll be in my course videos by Professor Maloney on YouTube soon. And then this one I'm just going to do to demonstrate a simple calculation. So I'll use their little shell this time, but I'm going to use the namespace standard. So using namespace std, right? And that way I don't need the standard : before this COOT statement. And I'll just say here that basically this program is a basic example of calculations in C++ with the 4 steps I talk about all the time. Step 1, declare variables. Step 2, assign values to variables. Step 3, do calculations as necessary. And step 4, display results. I'm not putting format this time, even though we will be formatting results all the time, okay? And then this is going to go to a new line, but remember we could also do it with the less than, and L. All right, so that's that. Now, so step 1, declare variables. All right, I'm going to do an example based on one of the optional exercises actually in the chapter, and I think it's programming exercise 2-9. They want you to get 5 test results from SIN statements, okay? And then to just add those 5 numbers up and divide them by 5 test scores to get an average score. All right. We talked about a similar one before, but this one's going to be the actual where I demonstrate the code necessary. So for step 1, we have to declare variables. Well, they're test scores, so let's just call them. We'll use double. Remember, we could have used int, but int is whole numbers only. So I'll just say double, and I'll say test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, test 5, and then a semicolon. okay? So I have my 5 variables. I want to take 5 test scores. So just think of what we're going to do. Let's say they put in for test scores 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. Okay, so if you add 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100, I think that comes up to 400. If you then divide that by 5, it's 80. So that would be the average. Okay, so we know we have the 5 test variables, but we need an average variable as well. So let's have another, so double average score, okay? So double average score to give us the average score of what the students or the student made, okay? So that's step 1. Now step 2, what is it? You know what it is. It's assign values to the variables. Assign values to the variables. So we can hard code 5 test scores, but we don't want to do that. We just want to get a SIN statement or SIN statements to do it. So we can do this. So CIN, okay, CIN, and, well, let me first do a COOT statement, and I'll do that one after. So COOT, and this is where we tell the user what we want to do. So let's say enter your 5 test scores, okay? So enter your 5 test scores, and then we'll go to a new line, okay? End the code statements. Remember, always end your code statements, right? Because this is code. So you need a semicolon at the end of every code statement, okay? Code statements, so end. Okay, so what we have 5 test scores, and we want the user to give us his or her scores for those 5 test scores. So now we have the SIN statements, okay? And SIN, remember, are the opposite of COOT, meaning instead of less than, it's greater than, all right? So I can move this over just so you can kind of see it better. I mean, in terms of how it lines up. So SIN, greater, COOT, less than. COOT, remember, displays to the screen. SIN takes from the screen. So we have to have things that we're going to take. So what do we want to take? Well, we want to take test 1. So test 1. What else do we want to take? Well, we want to take test 2. So we can just do another one, test 2. What else do we want to take? Well, we want to do test 3. Test 3. What else? Well, there's test 4. Test 4. What else? There's test 5. Okay? And again, we can say that we want to do an end L if we want to. Otherwise, we're just going to go ahead and end it the way it is there. Okay, so we could end it here, I mean, if we want to, or we can go ahead and put in a little end L. And you can also, by the way, you can go to a different line. Like you can have COOT statements anywhere you want, right? So you can have that, blah, blah, blah. And again, you can have an end L. It doesn't matter. But in any event, so these 5 variables here, okay, which are double data type, we're now having the user enter those. The way it works is that each one is segregated from the SIN statement with a greater than. What greater than means is whatever appears next, I'm getting from the screen. So in this case, the user is prompted to enter 5 test scores. Maybe I should say separated by a, separated by a space. So separated by a space each time. In other words, you don't put 80, 80, 80, because that would be 80,800 or whatever that would come out to. But you have to put a space to segregate them. And then when you do it that way, then test 1, where we have the SIN statement, test 1, then the space means, okay, that is the score. Now it's going to go to the next score. So it's going to look for another double data type test score, so meaning another number, and that goes in. Then the greater than, it ends itself when you type a space bar. Okay, so all these things work that way. So that's step 2, and now we're going to get all that from the user. And after I do it this way, I'm going to say to you, well, what other way could we have done this? Instead of all these tests this way on 1, could we have done SIN greater than, test 1, and then new line, SIN greater than, test 2? Of course we could, right? Of course. All right, so now we want step 3, do calculations. Oh, my. Okay, So do your calculations. So we got step 3, do calculations. Now, first thing we need to do is obviously get all them scores. So we're going to have to say average score. Oops. So do calculations. Average score. Remember, we have to use the variables. So we have an average score. And here's average score. So if you click it, it pops up. So average score equals, what does it equal? Well, it's test 1, right? Plus test 2, plus test 3, plus test 4, plus test 5. And then what? Then we want to divide them, okay? So divide by 5, and it's a double, so technically we could put 0.0 so that it does display correctly as a double. And then, get that, okay? So now, test 1 plus test 2 plus test 3 and 4 and 5. But look at what this might do, okay? Think of this from my lecture in class on day 1 of week 3, okay? I talked about order of operations. So test 1, and then it's plus. Test 2, then it's plus. Test 3, then it's plus. Test 4, then it's plus. They're all the same level in the order of operations. Remember, plus and minus are basically the bottom. They're the end. But then test 5 says / means divide. So test 5 divide by 5. So if it does that, test 5, let's say we put in as we'll just say 100. And we put all the other 4 in as something less than 100. So is average score going to be test 1 plus test 2 plus test 3 plus test 4 plus test 5 divided by 5? If so, it's going to be a weird average because we don't have any open and closed parentheses to segregate them, all right? So let me do it the right way first, and then I'll demonstrate that. So what I should do is put an open parenthesis before the first test score, okay? And I want that to capture every test score within the open parentheses. So here, I want to close the 5 test scores. In other words, remember, anything with open and closed parentheses, anything inside those are done first. And then if I have a double opening, left open parentheses, or triple, meaning having 3 of them all open at the same time, then whatever's inside that is for sure going to be the highest, meaning that the one that's going to be done first. But in this way, it's all simple. We're just saying add these 5 test scores together. They're all the same level. So open parentheses, and then the closing parenthesis is after the last test. So now it will add 100 plus 100 plus 100 plus 100 plus 0. Let's say they didn't take the last one. So then you got 400 divided by 5. So here, then we're doing the division by 5, and the score should be an 80. Okay? So that's step 4. Then we want to put display results. So what do we want to do for display results? We want to put that we want to put the average score, but we want to put a coot statement, right? So coot less than average score off your 5 exams was, and then that, okay, you can put a space. Remember, always put a space so that you don't have the answer, meaning in this case a number, but up against the S in was. Okay, so what is the variable? It's average score, because we have average score now. So average score, right? And then we can do a and L if we want, and then it's over, but really the program's over now. So let's go ahead and run it and see what we get, and then we'll talk about it. All right, so this program is a basic example of doing calculations in C++ with the 4 steps I talk about all the time. Step 1, declare a variable. Step 2, assign values to the variables. Step 3, do calculations as necessary. And step 4, display results. So now they're saying enter your 5 test scores separated by a space each time. So here, let's say the first score is 60, okay? Now this is what I was talking about. If I then do 80 for the next one, well, that's not really another one. That's still the first test score because it's consecutive numbers. With a sin statement, test 1 would literally be 6,080 right now. Now, obviously, that'd be a logic error. But the point is just that I told you down here that the way it goes is that test 1 ends when there's a space. And how do you get a space? Well, you have to move over. And that's why I said separated by a space each time. So really, I got to get rid of the 8 and the 0, put a space. Now I can put 80. Oh, sorry, 80. And then I have 2 test scores, 60 and 80. 60 would be assigned to test 1, or it's taken from test 1. That's the assumption based on how we ordered these. We're saying test 1 is the first number we're getting. Test 2 is the second we're getting. Test 3 for the third, test 4 for the fourth, and the last test 5. Okay? And then we're going to do the calculation after that. All right, so 60 and 80. Let's just do 90. We'll go up by 10, do 100, and then we'll do 100 again. So we have now 60 and 80 is 140. 140 and 90 is 230, and 100 is 330, and 100 is 430. So 430 divided by 5. 5 80s are 400. So that's 80. And then there's 30 remainder. So 5 goes into 36 times. So it's 80 plus 6 equals 86. So when I enter, I should see average score of your 5 exams was 86. Okay, average score of your 5 exams was 86. But now let's complicate it a little bit. All right. So, or not complicate it, but make it slightly better in terms of putting like percents, decimal points in play. So I'll do the same numbers, 60, 80, 90, 100, and 100. But on 60, 80, and 90, I'll throw in like a 0.2, a 0.6, a 0.8, whatever, something different. Okay, just to see if we end up getting a score, an average score off a fraction. Okay, so I said we would do for the first ones, we'll say 60.7. Okay, and then we'll say 70.5. Then we'll do 80.4. And then we'll do 100 and 100. So now we got 430 last time we said, 430. So now it's 430.7, 431.2, 431.6. Okay, is that right? 0.7 and 0.5 is 1.2. 1.2 and 0.4 is 1.6. So 431.6 should be our new total, but then we have to divide 431.6 divided by 5, and based on what I said before, it was a 80, but now 86, sorry, but now we have an extra 1.6, so more or less another 0.3. So the answer should be 86.3, but it won't be. Okay, so let's enter. Okay, oops, 82.32. I either did something different, meaning with the scores, or that yeah, I probably entered different numbers. I don't know. Because I thought I said before I was 81.6, but maybe I wasn't. But anyway, so we can open up a calculator too as an example, right? So calc and do, so 60.7, 60.7 plus 70.5 plus 80.4 plus 100 plus 100 equals, oh, it's 411.6. I don't know what the heck. I definitely had something different last time. Anyway, 411.6, and now divide by 5 equals 82.32. So I just had a different number, and I just don't recall what that was now, and that's why the answer is quite a bit different, right? But why is the answer this way? Because we have a double for average score. Watch now. Remember 82.32. I'm going to change this double to an int. Okay, int. So int average score. Oh shoot, now I got to remember all them hard scores though. 60, 70, 80 is 0.7, 0.5, 0.4. Actually, do I have the calculator still up? I think if I went back this thing, yeah, I think I can do it that way. Okay, so 60, 70, and 80, and then 100, 100, and it's 0.7, 0.5, 0.4. All right, so let's go in again, run it again. So 60.7 space 70.5 space 80, I think it said 0.4 space 100, 100. Now it should be the same answer, okay? 82.32, assuming these are right. We'll go here and we'll undo. I think this thing here will go back. So 82.32 is right. 311, well, it doesn't, I didn't get a sum of this total, so I can't do it that way, but I think I can still go back here. Oh no, I thought I could. Why not? 411, 311. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. But the point is, it's 82. You can tell with fractions, it can't be 82. It has to be something different. Okay. And the only change, though, is I changed the average to an integer. Okay. So even though I'm dividing it by a double, meaning 5.0 is a double, but when you're using a number that's an integer, remember, all it does is it's going to get rid of any values after that decimal place. So it's not going to be a true answer. So this we want as double. And you need to understand that. So always change things up a little bit. But anyway, this for sure would be a good help for you in any of the programs you're doing. Now, I also mentioned, could you do it where instead of having sin test 1 and then all these in one, could you do it, let's say, this way? So sin test 1, and I'll just copy that. Okay, so control copy that. I'll get rid of the others. Actually, here. For sin, okay, test 1. Okay. So think of what I'm saying. Enter your 5 scores separated by a space. So here I'm just going to say enter your first score. First test score. And I don't need to say separated by a space. So enter your first test score. Okay, and also it comes down, and then I want to do this for each of the others, so I'll just do it this way, copy both. So control copy, come down here, enter, control V, enter your what? Second test score. Second test score. Make sure though, if you do this, you change the variable. If I left that as test 1, I think I did a little test with you guys in class where I was talking about what would happen. And someone said, well, test 1 would still be the answer. But no, I said test 2 would be test 1 would be overwritten the second time with really what should be test 2, right? Okay, so here, do it again and change it to the third test score. Okay. Obviously, the first way is easier. Control V. Fourth. Just like when I just demonstrated using an integer, you can do that. And 82 is fine, but it's not quite the accurate answer that you might want, especially with student grades. Fifth test score, test 5. Okay, so now we did enter your first test score and then a separate sin statement just for that. So in this case, it's only going to take one number. If I did like this, 60.7 space 70.5 space 80.4 space 100 space 100, it's only going to take that first number. It'll ignore the others. So 60.7 is what's going to show here if I entered all that hard work, okay? But anyway, I just want to make sure I got them right. So test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, test 5. Are my Coots statements right? First, second, third, fourth, fifth. Yes, they are. So then I still do my average, and it's the same way. So let's run it now. So first test score, 60.7, okay? Second test score, 70.5. Third test score, 80.4. Fourth test score, 100. Fifth test score, 100. Enter. So now it says average score of your 5 exams was 82.32 because I changed the int average score back to double average score, right? Which is what I said it should be. So anyway, it doesn't matter which way you do this, but now obviously you're going to be doing your programs. My whole point here, excuse me, this is programming exercise 2-9. I don't remember if one student had done this in class or not, but either way, if he or she has, they did it either this way or the way I did it a few minutes ago, where I did the sin statements all on one line, one sin statement to accommodate all 5 tests. And, and that's the answer. But anyway, so for programming exercise 2-9, if you want to do that, you can take a picture of my code. Remember, I don't let you do it other ways than pictures. Excuse me. And I'll leave it this way, and maybe you can go ahead and just get everything in one shot. Let me see, though, how far more down I have to go. Now it goes down to there. So let's get rid of that last space. I'm just trying to see if we can do it in one. declare variables. I can technically put the test of the average score on the same line. So that would get rid of a line. Okay. So I can move average score up here, but get rid of the semicolon and just put another comma. But still it comes down on another one anyway, so I'll just leave that as double. I mean, just because that's the way I did it with you guys, for you guys. Okay, that, and then over here, change that back to a semicolon. Semicolon. All right. Okay. So, oh, you know, what if I widen it? There we go. What do we need? No, let's see. Okay, there I can get the, so if you want the code, it's that view there. And you still get enough of this that's okay. So take a picture of that if you want it. I shall leave it up here. Okay. And then your challenge, and actually this is programming exercise 2-9. I mean, it's my way, so it might be different. I don't know if they ask you to do 5 separate SYN statements or 1 SYN statement or do what you want. But you can you can type it in yourself in either repl.it, or you can just go over to your content, okay? So if you go to your content and you go over to start here, and you go over to MindTap, and then in MindTap, excuse me, you then go into Unit 2, and in Unit 2, you go to Code, and that's where you see your examples, remember? And I said you have to do 2.1 through 2.6, but see, there's others that are optional, and that's this one. Okay, so I mean, in this case, 2-9 is what I just did. So I'll say start it now. And they're gonna, if you haven't looked at this stuff yet, you should have heard me at least in class on Thursday talk about it and explain what you have to do. So you can do all your code here if you want. Now, okay, so it says specifically your average test score is colon and then X meaning the number. Mine may have been a little bit different than that. So let's go over here and verify. Okay, yeah, mine says average score for your 5 exams. So this will not get a 100. So let's actually copy this and paste it in. Okay, so copy that, control copy, go over to wherever I am, MindTap. Okay, so in MindTap, I'm going to delete what they have and just control V mine in, and I'm going to run it. Remember, I have to add, put the test score again, and again, my way is a little different, so I'll just say this time I'll say 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay. All right, average score of your 5 exams was 80. Now I want to grade it. So I'm just going to go here. So here's the instructions. Here's the tasks. It says test cases. Okay, they got a test case. So if test case 10, click the checkbox to attempt this task. Click the check box. That's this. Okay, that. Oh, it says 0 of 3 checks passed. So review the results below for more details. So now my test case 1 didn't work. Well, it's because I didn't put in 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Okay, so let's look at the second one. So there they wanted to show that. So, okay, test case means, so before you run it, you look at these test cases. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to see if there's one with real test scores. Okay, this is the one I'm going to do. I won't remember it though. Let's see if I run it, if it stays there. No, I don't want to wait. Yeah, I got to run it. If that stays there, I'll put in those. Okay, yeah, those. Now I put it in this way. So 88.56. So I should pass this one, at least part of it. 74.29, 95.3, 92.45, and 96.31. Now that's my average. And if I, let's see, that one, okay, it says 89.3. You can't see the rest. I don't know if I can move that over. Oh, wait, can I move this over? 89.382. So I think I should pass this one. So I'll say run checks now, but it probably won't let me pass the others. But let's see. So test 3, wait. Oh, wait, still run checks. I don't know. Well, sorry about that. Let's see. I may have to do each test case in order. I don't really know. Interesting. If one of you has figured this out, let me know. Let's see. Your average test score is 3. That's what this one is. It may also be, though, because I typed it differently than they wanted to say enter your first test score. Actually, I did put that. Average score of your 5 exams. Oh wait, sorry, that's me. What did they say again? Enter your, yeah. So I pretty well did it like them, but I didn't do this test case only. So I'm not real sure. I'm not real sure, but for sure, you see the math is right, 89.382. So it's a matter of what we have to do on test cases. So if I say show details in this one, let's see, 89 point, okay, so mine is the same. Your average test score is that. I think because I did not do these others where I can't show mine, so therefore mine will not have, see, mine is 0, but it's expecting it to be, wait, your average test score is 3. I'm not sure what that means now. Let's see. Maybe because now I've done it right, or sort of right, it's acknowledging that mine are, yeah, your average test score is 10. It seems to me it's taking it now that way. So let me run checks again just to make sure. Not really sure. And hit submit anyway. I don't know. See, it's counting down. Okay. All right, so it takes a bit of time, maybe a minute or two. I don't really know, but we shall see. Wait, what's confirm mean? I don't know if I'm supposed to do this or if I'm going to do confirm. I don't really know if I'm supposed to do this or not. Oh, submitting grade. There's something wrong. I don't know what's wrong, actually, because I did it right. Did I enter those 88.56, 74.29, 95.3, 92.45? I guess I'd have to check, you know, what was I really supposed to do. So let's go up here. So write a program that prompts the user to enter 5 test scores and then prints the average test score using the following format. So your average test score is, let me change mine to say your average test score is. Your average test score is, and then they put a colon, space, colon, and there's already a space. So let's run it again. Okay, and now rather than do that harder one, oh, I don't remember the other one. Was it, oh, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, all 10s. So 10 was one. I mean, one example was doing all 10s. Kind of silly. Your average score is 10. Okay, so now let's submit that. No, not, oh wait, I ran it again, sorry. So I got to come down here and run checks. Okay, so now see, I redid it, just changed this. So that shows you how important that is. Even though all my code, well, the program ran, it worked, but they wanted it to exactly be this. Your average test score is. So now it didn't matter which of the tests I ran, it was going to interpret the results based on my code. In other words, when I click on this thing here, even though I didn't do what, this is the one I just did actually. So this for sure is exactly right. Your average test score is that, and then my details for sure will show it. Test case 2, it says complete, but this time it didn't do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it knew that based on this, it would take it, and this is the results, and this is the calculation, and that would give what they wanted. So the only thing that they didn't like was my your average test score is whatever I put at the end. So be very careful when you're doing the programs. All righty, have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, Thursday the 9th. All right, so let me go to my here and stop my program.